Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.
We'll sing a Vaishnava song. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachiranandana. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachirananda. Tribhuvana Kore Jar Charana Vandan. Jai Jai Jagannath Sachiranandan. Tribhuvane Kore Jar Charana Vandan. नीलाचले शंख चक्र गद पद्मधर नदिया नगरे दंडा कमंडलुका नीलाचले शंख चक्र गद पद्मधर नदिया नगरे दंड कमंडलुका नीलाचले शंख चक्र गदा पद्मधर नदिया नगरे दंड कमंडलुका के बोले पूरबे रावण भदिला गोलोकेरा वैभव लीला प्रकाश करीला केह बोले पूरबे रावण बधिला, गोलोकेरा वैभव लीला प्रकाश करिला। जय जय जगन्नाथ चिरनंदन, त्रिभुवन करे जार चरण वंदन। श्रीराधर भावे ये बेगौरा अवतार, हरे कृष्णा नाम गौरा करिला प्रचार। श्रीराधार भावे ये बेगौरा अवतार, हरे कृष्णा नाम गौरा करिला प्रचार। वासुदेवा घोष बोले करी जोड़ा हाथ, जय गौर से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। वासुदेवा घोष बोले करी जोड़ा हाथ, जय गौर से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। जय गौर से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। जय गौरा से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। जय जय जगन्नाथ सचिरानंदन, त्रिभुवन करे जार चरण वंदन। जय जय जगन्नाथ सचिरानंदन, त्रिभुवन करे जार चरण वंदन। जय गौर से कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। जय गौर जय कृष्णा से जगन्नाथ। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai, Gaura Hari Bol. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 22nd. Word to word meaning. Namaha, all respectful obeisances. Pankajanabhaya, unto the Lord, who has a specific depression resembling a lotus flower in the center of his abdomen. Namaha, obeisances. Pankajamaline, one who is always decorated with a garland of lotus flowers. Namaha, obeisances. Pankajanetraya, one whose glance is as cooling as a lotus flower. Namaste, respectful obeisances unto you. Pankaja Angraye, unto you, the soles of whose feet are engraved with lotus flowers, and who are therefore said to possess lotus feet. Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye, Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye, Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Namaste Pankajangraye, Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. Purport. Here are some of the specific symbolical marks on the spiritual body of the personality of Godhead, which distinguish his body from the bodies of all others. They are all special features of the body of the Lord. The Lord may appear as one of us, but he is always distinct by his specific bodily features. Srimati Kunti claims herself unfit to see the Lord because of her being a woman. This is claimed because women, Shudras, the laborer class, the Dvijabandhus, or the wretched descendants of the higher three classes, are unfit by intelligence to understand transcendental subject matter concerning the spiritual name, fame, attributes, forms, etc. of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such persons, although they are unfit to enter into the spiritual affairs of the Lord, can see him as the Archa Vigraha, who descends on the material world just to distribute favors to the fallen souls, including the above mentioned women, Shudras, and Dvijabandhus. Because such fallen souls cannot see anything beyond matter, the Lord descends to the Lord condescends to enter into each and every one of the innumerable universes as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who grows a lotus stem from the lotus-like depression in the center of his transcendental abdomen. And thus Brahma, the first living being in the universe, is born. Therefore, the Lord is known as the Pankajanabhi. The Pankajanabhi, Lord accepts the Archa Vigraha, his transcendental form, in different elements, namely a form within the mind, a form made of wood, a form made of earth, a form made of metal, a form made of jewel, a form made of paint, a form drawn on sand, etc. All such forms of the Lord are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers. And there should be a soothing atmosphere in the temple of worship to attract the burning attention of the non devotees always engaged in material wranglings. The meditators worship a form within the mind. Therefore, the Lord is merciful even to the women, Shudras, and Dvijamandus, provided they agree to visit the temple of worship in different forms made for them. Such temple visitors are not idolaters, as alleged by some men with poor fund of knowledge. All the great acharyas established such temples of worship in all places just to favor the less intelligent. And one should not pose himself as transcending the stage of temple worship while one is actually in the category of the Shudras and the women or less. One should begin to see the Lord from his lotus feet, gradually rising to the thighs, waist, chest, and face. One should not try to look at the face of the Lord without being accustomed to seeing the lotus feet of the Lord. Srimati Kunti, because of her being the aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord from the lotus feet because the Lord might feel ashamed, and thus Kunti Devi, just to save a painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above his lotus feet. That is, from the waist of the Lord, gradually rising to the face and then down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything there is in order. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapa Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanch Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas to share something in glorification of the Supreme Lord. So we are hearing the stuti or the prayers offered by Mother Kunti, who is such wonderfully, although in this verse also Prabhupada writes that she tells that I am a less intelligent, I cannot understand you and all, but the way the prayers are composed and the uh, depth of knowledge which is there in that is, even if we study for the whole entire lifetime, it is, we may not be able to understand, even scratch the surface of it. So last week we heard such wonderful, amazing class by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, the 21st verse, which tells about the Leela Stuti of the Lord, wherein different Leelas, the pastimes what performed by the Supreme Lord is mentioned. And the today's verse, that is Namo Pankajanaabhaya, Nama Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangre. So comparing all the limbs or all different parts of the body of the Lord to the lotus flower. This is a Rupa Stuti, the glorification of the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. So here, as Prabhupada concludes this verse, purport to this verse, saying that Mother Kunti, while offering prayers, it is not a monotonous. Sometimes when we come in front of the Lord or offering prayers, we may be repeating the different prayers and it goes in a monotonous way, autopilot mode. Samsara dava, lalalita loka, and the mind may be thinking of either the, like, if somebody has job, then they may be thinking, oh, what to do now, like, no. Or if somebody has any services, then okay, kitchen, this has to be done, that has to be done. Or the mind may be like, no, the organs will be doing its activity of either speaking or hearing, but the mind will be somewhere. And as it is said, we are where our, like, no, where our mind is. So the senses may be doing the activity. The same way we may be reciting the same, the prayers, but where our mind is fixed, that is very much important. And here, like, no, Mother Kunti, while offering the prayers, she's so careful in terms of not that I want to glorify the Lord, but at the same time, he should not feel any kind of embarrassing situation. She being the aunt of Mother, like, no, sorry, Lord Krishna, he may feel kind of uneasy if she starts glorifying his lotus feet in the beginning. And Prabhupada tells in a circle, which is the beginning point. Like any point is like, no, you can consider as the beginning point. And that was the same thing which Narada Muni told to Kamsa also. That Kamsa was thinking when the Krishna appeared, and immediately when he heard that the eighth son is going to be the cause of my destruction, the first child, oh, why should I be worried about the first child? So let me give back. He gave back. But then that time Narada Muni saw that if he doesn't do more sinful activities or incur sin, it will take more time for the Lord for him to get annihilated. So it has to be speeded up. Like in the chemical process, we add catalyst. so that the chemical process is speeded, like it becomes fast. So the same way, he goes to Kamsa and tells, he takes a lotus flower and tells Kamsa, in this, tell me which is the first flower, first petal, and which is the last petal. And that was sufficient for Kamsa to understand that why not the the eighth be the first and the first be the eighth. And that's how he agrees to kill the child. The same way, Mother Kunti, she is offering her prayers from the lotus navel or the abdomen. And as Prabhupada goes on to explain further that Nama Pankaja Nabhaya. So the Nabhi is also like the lotus. And if you see, not only here, everywhere, for all parts of the body of the Lord, the lotus is compared. Lotus face, lotus mouth, lotus words, like now. So because in the material world, it is said that amongst the beautiful flowers which we can see, lotus is the most beautiful and very fragrant. Somehow I was never able to smell that fragrance, maybe because of the Kali Yuga lotuses. So, but it is said that lotus is the most beautiful. So, Nama Pankaja Nabhaya, the Nabhi of the Supreme Lord, whatever Lord performs, he performs in such a way that it attracts the love and devotion of the Lord. At the same time, for the people who may take Lord to be the ordinary person, if he carefully little bit thinks, he will be able to understand what is the greatness of the Supreme Lord. Although the Lord appeared or was present in the two-handed form, but the same Lord, just to show that he is not like any ordinary person, when he appeared, he had the four-handed form. He manifested in the four-handed form with all the beautiful golden dhoti and the earrings and the curly hairs, which if we ask any of the mothers, they can tell that we have never ever seen or heard that any child has taken birth like that. So many people say that I am such and such God, or I am the incarnation of such and such. Prabhupada used to tell that if they claim to be the God, then tell them to lift like Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill at the age of 7, and he held it for 7 days. They can hold something for 7 minutes. Or we can ask them, show your lotus feet if there are any the symbols. Or we can ask, the Lord appeared in the jail, and with this way, we can ask, where did he take birth? If he is Lord, then why did he had to go to his mother had to go to the hospital, or or whichever way he had taken birth? So the Supreme Lord here is Mother Kunti is praising him that how from his abdomen, although here it is being mentioned about the Garbhodaksha Vishnu glorifying, but it is indirectly the expansion of the Supreme Lord, the plenary portion of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So that's why here she's telling Namo Pankaja Nabhaya. The Nabhi is also appearing like a lotus. And Nama Pankaja Maline. So the Lord in his expansion as Balramji, then the first quadruple expansion and the second quadruple expansion, from which the Mahavishnu comes. And from Mahavishnu, many Brahmandas are created. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarasam. Like that. And then he expands himself into the Garbhodaksha Vishnu and Kshirodaksha Vishnu and enters each and every atom. And here, while telling Nama Pankaja Maline, she's not comparing that to one flower, Pankaja Maline. There is a garland of lotuses. So Acharya say that is, she's telling that, my dear Lord, from you, it is not that only one universe come out. Just like in a garland doesn't mean that it is a one flower. Garland means there are multiple flowers which are put together. The same way, from you, unlimited number of universes they manifest. And in each and every universe, you enter inside that as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and from your uh, navel as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the lotus flower is grown, and from that the Brahmaji, he comes out, he manifests the first uh, living entity in this material creation. So, and how does the Lord look like? His eyes are like the Pankaja Netraya. The Lord with his the beautiful eyes, he showers his Karunya Kataksha. We see the beautiful Lord Jagannath Ji is there, and his eyes are so big. It is said that the Lord name is Nimesha and Animesha. It comes in the Vishnu Sahasranama. That is, the Lord is so eager to shower his causeless mercy on the devotees that whenever the devotees does any mistake, he just closes his eyes like Ranganath, as if I have not seen you, what you have done. And whenever he does any little bit of any service, he's with his big eyes, he's wide open to shower his causeless mercy. And the red, the color which is around the Lord Jagannath's eyes, that shows his compassion. So that's why when we come in front of the Lord, when Bhaktivedanta Sarthi Thakur, we know the famous thing that when there was the yatra, the last day of the yatra, and Vrindavan was there, and it was announced that the devotees can either go to take the darshan of the Sheshashai Vishnu, or they can sit and hear from Bhaktivedanta Sarthi Thakur. Majority of the devotees, they went to take the darshan of the Lord. And Bhaktivedanta Sarthi Thakur started by telling that it is just like a eye gymnasium, like an eye exercise. What can one see with this? The blend charma chakshu. We have to see the Lord through our ears. Only that is a way of understanding the Supreme Lord. We cannot see the Supreme Lord with our eyes. So that's why when we come in front of the Lord, it is not that we take the darshan of the Lord, or with our eyes we see. Rather, we are coming in front so that the Lord's glance can fall on us. Yes, we seeing may purify us to some extent. If Lord is not happy with us, and we seeing the Lord, surely Lord is all powerful and we'll get some benefit. But if he doesn't look at us, then we'll not get his that karunya kataksha. Rather, when he sees us, even if we don't see, then there is all benefit. So one devotee had done a very nice painting in which devotee is Bhakti. This is based on the statement of Bhaktivedanta Sarthi Thakur. Don't try to see Krishna, but serve Krishna in such a way that the Krishna wants to see you. So how what he had drawn was that the first statement, don't try to see Krishna. The altar is curtain is closed. A devotee is going and putting his head inside the curtain and trying to take the darshan. That is first part. Don't try to see Krishna. And the second part, the devotee is busy like singing Krishna's song. He is doing the temple all mopping, and Jagannathji is putting his head from the closed curtain and he is looking at this devotee. So the same way, the way of attracting mercy is by through our service. It doesn't matter whether any devotee appreciates, or any devotee is recognizing us, or whether they are seeing and glorifying us. Even if nobody sees, nobody glorifies, but the Supreme Lord who is seated in the heart as Paramatma, he is watching. And whenever is the right time, whenever it is very much needed, or at the right time, he gives his causeless mercy. For that, the best example is that of the Dukhi who was serving in the house of Shivas Thakur, who was neither in the forefront, not none of the devotees knew who she is. And for the Abhishek of the Lord, like she was just bringing the water pots and just handing it over to the others. And the Lord called her and no, gave her the name Sukhi. So that way, It's only through our service which we can attract the mercy of the Lord or the attention of the Supreme Lord, not by our own any other way of. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna ends the 11th chapter by telling that uh, like, no, only it is Arjuna, it is only by through bhakti that you can attain me. Like, no, it is not by either the study of the Navede, Natapasa, not by the studying the scriptures, nor by performing any ritualistic activities or any other way you can understand me. Only Ananya Bhakti is a way of understanding the Supreme Lord. So that's why even what to speak of anyone, even when Krishna was present, even at that time, many people could not understand who Krishna is or how Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, even in the presence of Krishna, now we are so much like now for every product there is a what do you call duplicate. So the moment any gadget comes, there is a duplicate product. Even at the time of Krishna was also there was this what do you call people who make the duplicate were there. That is in the presence of Krishna there was Poundraka, who said that I am the real Krishna and he is the duplicate Krishna. So even Duryodhana and all the so many Dhritarashtra and so many people saw Krishna, but they could not understand his supremacy or his position. So the same way Krishna came 5,000 years ago and gave the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, wherein he concluded after telling to Arjuna, the explaining the whole Bhagavad Gita, at the end he said that Arjuna yathechasi tatha kuru. I have explained to you all the things. Now you do whatever you want. So that way, Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, he never enforces anything on us. He gives us the complete freedom. He never comes and catches our neck and tell, you should worship me. If you don't worship me, you'll go to the hell. Because there are some sect of people, they say, if you don't accept the such and such Lord, then you'll go to hell. But Krishna is not such Lord that he says that if you don't accept, then you will go to hell. No. He says, whatever faith whichever person has, I give them the faith in that respective thing. Although he calls them as the abuddhaya or like less intelligent. So Krishna giving that freedom to Arjuna, at the end he says, like, no, Arjuna, if you really ask me, you give up everything. Sarva dharman parityajya mami ekam sharanam raja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma. Give up all the things and then surrender unto me. So this Krishna came and taught, but still, as we are Kali Yuga product, the Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagya Upadritaha, the Kali Yuga, everything goes down. The intelligence, the strength, the power, or the memory. So people of this Kali Yuga could not understand what exactly Krishna told or how to implement that in our life. To do that, Krishna personally saw that now I only have to do something. And he came in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came as a devotee so that let me practice what I have given so that by seeing that others will be able to follow. Just like sometimes the mothers or the fathers, they have to become like a student. Okay, but I'll write ABCD because they don't write. If you tell also, then when we sit with the okay, see, I am writing ABCD. Oh, they will also sit and write. That doesn't mean that the father or the mother or the teacher doesn't know. They are making the child right. The same way, Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya to in the form of devotee, so that the what knowledge he had given in the Bhagavad Gita they can apply, seeing the life of Lord Chaitanya. So we all know that how when he was young he was called as Nimai Pandit. He was such a scholar that nobody could defeat. He would put forward a proposition and tell others that to refute it. And if they refute it, again he would establish his first statement. And then they would feel that yes, what first statement he made is the right one. And then again he would refute his own statement and establish the second statement. So that was his panditya. And we all know that how even the Digvijay Pandit Keshav Kashmiri, he came and he so eloquently uh, composed 100 verses on Mother Ganga immediately, instantly. And in that, Nimai Pandit could find out some flaws. And he was flabbergasted that how is that I just on the spot I composed this poem, and how could he remember? So that was the um, intelligence or the panditya of Nimai Pandit, and he had opened his own grammar school, which was so famous that people from everywhere were wanting to come and study in Nimai Pandit's school. What it would take years to learn in other schools, he would teach in just 4 to 5 months. That is the expertise of the teacher. If the teacher is good, he can make the complex thing into so simple and easy to understandable by the student, that the children will love to learn, or they will easily understand it. And when this was happening, there comes the Ishwarapuri to Navadvip, and seeing the qualities of Ishwarapuri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he serves him, and he becomes very much attracted. And eventually we know the how Jagannath Mishra, father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, leaves the body. And to perform his final rites, Nimai Pandit goes to Gaya. He goes to Gaya, he performs the last rites at the Vishnupada, and there he meets Ishwarapuri again. And there he takes the shelter of Ishwarapuri and accepts initiation. So till that time, many of the people like Gadadhar Pandit and other devotees, they would see Nimai Pandit, and many devotees would feel, oh, alas, if Nimai Pandit can become a devotee, how nice it will be. And Gadadhar Pandit would run away from a long distance only, otherwise he would kind of a intellectual, what you can say, ragging by asking different questions he would be doing. So when this happened, just after the initiation, there is complete transformation. The same Nimai Pandit who was exhibiting his panditya, now he started exhibiting his bhakti by constantly remembering the Lord and chanting the Lord's name, to the extent that he himself became very much astonished that Kiva mantra dila Gosai, like, no, what kind of mantra have you given me, oh Gosai, spiritual master Ishwarpuri? By chanting that, my mind is becoming completely mad. I'm not able to do anything other than chanting the names of the Lord. And Ishwarpuri said that you have attained the perfection, that you have attained the attraction or Krishna Prema. So when he came back to Navadvip, and when he started again teaching the grammar, it was completely opposite. So previously the way he would teach, and now he would teach everything the same grammar with the different names of Krishna. And based on this only, Srila Jiva Goswami has made the Harinama Amrita Vyakaran, wherein everything, the whole Vyakaran is taught with the different names of the Supreme Lord. So when Nimai Pandit came back, and he was no more interested in teaching the grammar, although he would take classes, but his whole class would be making them chanting the names of the Lord. Just imagine some of our teacher or a devotee was in one way, and just he goes home and comes back and completely transformed, either a who was not practicing any angas of bhakti, and now he's so serious. Then or the other way, he was so sincerely practicing and he goes for few days and comes back and not practicing. Then we sing, Dal mein kuch to kala hai. Something has happened because of which sudden, like no, there is a change. And when the students also they started observing this, some of them they could appreciate, and some of them who had come there just for the sake of learning grammar, who didn't had any devotion, they started finding fault with him. One day when uh, one of the student, when he saw Lord Chaitanya chanting the names, remembering Krishna and the names of the gopis, he became like no, started wondering why Krishna, like no, Nimai Pandit is chanting the names of the gopis. And he goes and he tells him, my dear sir, why are you chanting the names of the gopis? Chant the names of Krishna. And Nimai Pandit was like, no, he was unhappy. And then, in the remembrance of the gopis, like, no, he took a stick and he tried to chase him away, seeing his, this one, the way of his behavior. Because it is a Maryada Vitikraman. A student, like, no, is not supposed to correct the teacher, or an younger one is not supposed to correct the elder one. So, because he could not understand it when he corrected Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for this action, immediately that student went to the other school and started telling, do you know what did this Timai Pandit do? He was chanting the names of gopis, and because I corrected him, he took a stick and he chased away. And hearing that, some other students, they also became very much angry at this incident, and they said, if ever again Nimai Pandit does it, we will teach him a lesson. That is because of the pride of the birth. Let's say Kunti Maharani is going to, in another 2-3 shlokas, she is going to tell, Janma Ishwarya Shruta Shribir Edamana Mada Puman. Like, no, that is Janma, birth, Aishwarya, the wealth, Shruta, high learned, and Shri, the beauty. These are the 4 things which can become the barrier or the obstacle for one's practice of bhakti, or that makes a person become mada means like no, proud of that, and in that pride they cannot see the things as they are. That's why we say dhanandha, like a person who is having a lot of wealth, he may become blind because of the having so much of wealth. So the same way, those who didn't had even tinge of devotion, or those who were just like no, the so-called descendants of the brahmanas, they became disturbed. How can this happen, or how can he mistreat another brahmana boy? As Srila Prabhupada and the Shastras clearly tell that it is not by the birth that anybody can become a brahmana or kshatriya or any other. Just like Prabhupada would give simple example. Just because one is son of a doctor, nobody will go to him as a doctor if he has not studied the medicine. He has to qualify himself by studying under another doctor, and he has to get that like no certification. Then others will go to him. Without that, nobody will go. The same way, it is not that just by birth, because I am born from a Brahmana father and mother, I cannot call myself as a Brahmana unless I qualify myself by trying to develop the qualities. Those who were blind to this, they became very much disturbed. And they said that if this is what Nimai Pandit is trying to do, then we will try to like, teach him a lesson. And when Lord Chaitanya saw this, he became, or that time Nimai Pandit, he became very much unhappy at like seeing this situation. So he started thinking that what can I do by which I can uh, shower my causeless mercy, because the purpose for which I have come is to spread the Krishna prema. But if these people, they are disrespecting me, because of that disrespect they'll commit offense, and because of that offense they'll go away from me, and they will never ever be able to get that uh, the Krishna bhakti. So what is that by which I can make them qualified to become the recipients of Krishna bhakti? So thinking that, he thought, if I take sannyas, because in the four orders, the Brahmanas, they are very proud. They consider themselves as the topmost in the Varna and Ashrama. In the Varna, Brahmanas are the topmost. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. The head is there, the Brahmanas, and the arms are the Kshatriyas, and the belly is the Vaishyas, and the legs are the Shudras. And Prabhupada used to tell, in a body, all the parts are important. And now they consider the Brahmanas are proud, but in the ashrama, the brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi is the topmost. And even the Brahmanas, they will offer respect to the sannyasi. The only way I can shower my causes mercy to all of them is, if I take sannyas, then they will respect me. And when they offer respect to me, by that they will get some sukriti by which I can give them the Krishna bhakti. So with this, he was thinking that I should accept sannyas. Meanwhile, after returning back from the Gaya, every day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would perform kirtan with his dear devotees. And for that, only very few were selected, few devotees were allowed to be part of it. It was not open for everyone. So one day, there was one more Brahmana who wanted to come and take the darshan of the kirtan of Nimai Pandit. But he was said no, and he became little upset. How is that? I am born in a Brahmana family and I am not being allowed. So with that, when he, next day when Nimai Pandit was coming back from the Ganges on the banks of the Ganga, seeing him, he took out his sacred thread and he cursed that may your material life be uh, completely destroyed. And hearing that, although immediately Nimai Pandit offered obeisances to him, but internally he became very happy that yes, that's what I also wanted. So eventually, when he decided that he was finding it no more pleasure of teaching the Sanskrit grammar, he closed the grammar school, and then he decided to accept sannyas. And first, he informed this to Nityananda Prabhu. He told that, "Oh Nityananda Prabhu, I want to accept sannyas, and you please tell to the 5 more people." He told, no, tell to Mother Shachi, then Chandrasekharacharya, then Gadadhar Pandit, then Brahmananda Bharati, and Mukunda. These are the 5. And he said that soon, on the day of the Makara Sankranti, I'm going to accept sannyas. And although it was only told to these 5, somehow or the other, the news had slowly spread to few more. And as the day of Makara Sankranti came, on the day of Makara Sankranti, as we know, it is a festival day, and on the day of the festival, we have so many, everybody gets up early in the morning, taking the oil bath, abhyanga, especially with the till sesame oil, and then wear nice clothes and have a festive this one. So Lord Chaitanya also had a whole day of going to meeting all different devotees and having Nama Sankirtan. And all the devotees were very blissful. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, or Nityanand Nimai Pandit was also going and meeting all the devotees. And in the mind, he was thinking, alas, from tomorrow onwards, they all will not be able to be part of this, nor I will be here to have this such wonderful kirtan going on. And he was going to different places and trying to see the places where different pastimes they all had performed. So with this, he went to different places, meeting different devotees. And in the evening, after meeting everyone, and he goes to the Mother Ganga, taking the darshan of Mother Ganga and remembering all the childhood incidences, what all had happened in the bank of the Ganga. He offers his respects to Mother Ganga and comes back. And when he comes back to the home, then it was a night, one by one different devotees came and bringing different gifts to Lord Chaitanya, Nimai Pandit. And at the end, almost it was time to take rest. That was the time there comes the Sridhar Kolavicha. And he had come with a bottle guard, which had grown up on his the thatched rooftop. And brings the bottle guard, and seeing that, Nimai Pandit was wondering that, alas, I love Sridhar Kolavicha so much, and he has brought something. How can I reject his offering or what he has brought? Because it is said that Sridhar Kolavicha was such a humble Vaishnava. The Kolavicha, that means that he was selling the banana leaves and banana plankton or banana fruit. And with this, he would lead his life, and he would, whatever the profit he can make, he would try to make the least possible profit. If you go to the market, everybody wants to make the whatever the maximum one can try to make. But his nature was that how can I make least profit, and whatever profit would come in that 50% he would use it for the sake of worshipping Mother Ganga, and the remaining 50% was for the next day, for his life and for this one. So many times Nimai Pandit had asked that, oh Sridhar Kolavicha, why are you like no worshipping Ganga? Why don't you worship Mother Durga, who can give a lot of wealth? So he said, no, I don't want. I am completely satisfied. But you'll get a lot of wealth by which you can live lavishly. Then Sridhar Kolavicha would tell, what is the difference between the king who is living so lavish in the palatial building, eating royal food items and having very nice couch for taking rest, when it is compared to the small bird which is sitting on the top of a tree? In terms of the amount of enjoyment of eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, it is the same. The king may be doing it in the palatial building, and the bird may be doing the same activities in the nest. But the amount of happiness which both are getting is the same. Only the externals may vary. So how does it matter? Hearing this answer, Nimai Pandit would tell, oh Sridhar Kolavich, you are such a wealthy person. One day I'll show to the entire world that how much wealth do you have. And Kolavich Sridhar would think, what wealth do I have? To the extent that all he had was in his thatched hut. When it would rain, practically it would, from every corner or every place, the water would fall inside. And he had in his room only one vessel for A to Z That is the same vessel for all purposes. So that was his this one. So when once Nimai Pandit comes to his house, he was so eager to take that pot and drink water to taste the the mm, devotion of Sridhar Kolavecha, and he says that drinking the water from it. When Nimai was about to do that, Sridhar Kolavecha, who was observing from a distance, he was feeling very much uneasy that how can Lord do this? But then after drinking water from that, he says, "Oh, today I have I have drank the nectar." So, and then in the Mahaprakash Lila, he shows his what was his devotion to all the devotees. So when he came up with this bottle guard, although he doesn't have anything, but he is offering something to the Lord. Even the Lord, what he sees is that only. It is not that how much we give, Lord says, but it is he sees how much we are holding back. Somebody may give 10 lakh rupees, and somebody may give only 10 rupees. Lord will not see that, oh, he has given 10 lakh, he's so amazing, and oh, he gave only 10 rupees. He will see this person who gave 10 rupees, he had only 20 rupees. From that, he gave 10 rupees. And the other person who gave 10 lakh, he has 10 crore, and in that, he has given only 10 lakh. So it is not that what we give, but it is what we are holding back. That's what the Lord sees. But when we see that how everything belongs to Krishna, what to speak of everything, my whole existence belongs to Krishna, then a devotee wants to offer himself in the service of the Lord, along with his all the belongings, whether the family or the house, everything. Seeing that attracts the 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 Karunya Kataksha of the Lord. So when Sridhar Kolavecha brought this bottle guard, he requested Mother Shachi that can you please make some preparation out of this. Mother Shachi was thinking what to do. Meanwhile, one more devotee came and he offered some milk. So taking that, milk and the bottle guard, Mother Shachi prepared a nice kind of kheer, and Lord Chaitanya accepted. And then Sridhar Kolavecha leaves. And this is happening, all this is happening in the night of the Makara Sankranti. And as we are today is the Makara Sankranti, what is the speciality? Many of you may be aware of it. Makara Sankranti, that is, the sun is entering the Makara. There are 12 zodiac signs. This is the time where the sun is entering the Makara Rashi, or from the Dakshinayana to Uttarayana. And 1 year of our time is 1 day of the Devatas. And Uttarayana is the beginning of the daytime of the Devatas. And the other Dakshinayana is the night time. So that's why even the Bhishma Pitamaha, he was waiting for the Uttarayana to come to leave his body, because it is considered to be very auspicious. That's why even all the auspicious ceremonies are performed in Uttarayana, not in the Dakshinayana. And also this is the beginning of the many new grains they come, and it is the because the sun is the source of everything. It is an expression of our gratitude to Lord Sun by offering all the items to him and then taking us this one. And this is celebrated across in different names. And even on the same time of the Sankranti, or the day of Sankranti, it is the Ganga Sagar Mela, when Mother Ganga, who came from the Bhagirathi Muni, brought her from the upper planets to the earthly planet, because of his descendants were burnt to ashes to the Kapila Muni's ashram in the what is that place? Any of you know that place? It is where the Mother Ganga enters the ocean. I think it's called Ganga Sagar. Ganga Sagar only. Yeah. So that is a place where, like now, Mother Ganga, she flew above the ashes and they all got liberated, and then she entered the ocean. So that also happened on the same day. So then, when Sridhar Kolavecha returned back on that day, Haridas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, they stayed near Lord Chaitanya, and by that time, slowly few people had understood, and even Mother Sachi knew that today is the last day I'm going to see my son. He's going to leave. And after that, Lord Nimai Pandit went for taking rest. He was sleeping, and after some time, suddenly he got up because of the feeling, the sensation of some liquid falling on his feet. He just got up and saw that his wife, like the Vishnu Priya, she's holding his lotus feet and tears are rolling from her eyes. And then he asked, why? What happened? By that time, although it was not directly told to her, but she had come to know that today is the last day when my husband is going to leave. Just imagine, it is such a time that today is the last day I'm going to, like, no, be with my husband, and like he's going to leave. It is kind of a uh, hmm, thunder which is going to strike the head, and like no, unable to accept the reality, she was crying piteously. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, 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 nothing like that. He tried to pacify, but then again she was not able to come out of her grief. And that was the time Nimai Pandit philosophically he presents that how in this material world everybody is brought together by the force of the destiny. And even the Shastra say that how in a river different sticks, they come together by the force of the waves, and after some time they are separated. Shastras gives another example that how in a hotel different people come together, they may sit in the same dining table and eat, and after that they depart. That is the reality of this material world, where depend based on our karma we all come together, and then the time separates everyone. And when he spoke this philosophy, although she could not be pacified, still she had to accept it. She knew that he's not going to stay back. And then again, while holding the lotus feet of Nimai Pandit, her husband, she falls asleep. And just before the early morning hours, when 1 or 2 hours are remaining, that time Nimai Pandit gets up and he was about to leave. And understanding that in the night he's going to go out, leave home, Mother Shachi was waiting near the doors. She was just sitting at the door, and when he comes, she was also continuously, pitifully, like no, tears were rolling from her eyes. And he comes, and immediately he, like no, he starts glorifying his mother. That, oh my dear mother, it is because of you I am, like no, there today. And he he also tells that even by I cannot pay the debt even by serving you for one kalpa, one day of Brahma, for what you have done. And then he gives assurance that don't worry, whenever you remember me, I'll be there with you. I'll never be like departing from you. And then immediately, without looking back, he leaves. That's why the Lord and the devotees are told that they are kusumadapi komalam vajradapi katoram. That they are soft like the flower, as well as the hard like the strong diamond. The similar incident comes wherein when after Lord Chaitanya accepts sannyas and goes to Jagannath Puri, where he stays with Sarvam Bhattacharya for some time, he wanted to go for South India Yatra. At that time also Sarvam Bhattacharya, he was just devotee for few days. He requests him that please stay back. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stays back for another 10 days. And then again he decides to leave. And again he requests to stay back. That time he says no. And then he leaves and he doesn't turn back. He just leaves. Otherwise, generally, like whenever we leave our near and dear ones or the friends, if we are departing, going away, we like no Haribol, and then we go ahead and the vehicle, if we are going in the vehicle or whatever, when the turn is there or the last time we keep and we say we want to take the last glance, but he doesn't do that because understanding that that like the uh, they may become more like it is one in one way that feeling the separation again there's some hope of coming back that increases there this one, so he leaves. So Lord leaves and immediately he runs and like crosses the Ganges and goes to the Katwa where uh, Keshav Bharati was there. And in fact, just before he taking sannyas, once Keshav Bharati had come to their house and he had served Keshav Bharati and he says, please remove me or take me away from this samsara. And he says, no, 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 you are the like Supreme Lord. What is there of the samsara? But then he had given an indication that I'm going to come to you. You have to give me sannyas. And now when he comes there, then already with him, he had told Nityantur and like Mukunda and all to come there. So there he comes to the ashram of Keshav Bharati, and the whole ceremony had to be performed. And nobody was ready. Just the moment he had come there, as it became the twilight and the morning, it was a culture in the entire Navadvip was that everybody would, after their morning immediate taking bath and all, they would come or pass by Nimai Pandit's house just to behold his beauty. Nobody could start their day without having the darshan of Nimai Pandit. That was their like no. Although they would like no. Initially, he was just a pandita, but now when he had become the devotee, everybody wanted to come and take darshan, and especially devotees, they would love to come and hear and greet him, and then do any other course of the day. And the same way when the devotees they came, they saw that Mother Shachi is crying, sitting outside. It was they were surprised and they asked what happened. Without any word, Mother Shachi says, whatever belongings are there, you all can take whichever things you want to your houses. Because without having my son, what is the use? They didn't understood. And then she said that now he has gone to accept the sannyas. Immediately, practically everybody were like, no, they started crying. What to seeing the lamentation of all the devotees, it said all the blasphemers, their hearts were moved, and they were also, although they were blaspheming, but still they were attracted to the beauty and the nature of Nimai Pandit, so much so that every day they also wanted to have the darshan of Nimai Pandit, and they started like no crying pitifully to the extent that many devotees they said that like so now what is the use of keeping our life? Let us just go and jump in the Ganga and end our life. When they were like, many of them were about to go, that time they heard a voice telling that, don't worry, don't give up your life. Very soon, in few days, like, no, Nimai Pandit is going to come back. So that gave them some life, and they continued. But despite, it was not the regular day affair. And the same thing, many people started going towards the Katwa, understanding when they heard that that is a place where, like, no, Nimai has gone to take sannyas. And there, like, no, seeing the lamentation of everyone, Nimai Pandit told Mukunda to chant the names of the Lord. Immediately he started singing beautiful uh, kirtan, chanting the names of the Lord. And when the kirtan started, that was little bit of pacifying for everyone. And before the sannyas, to take sannyas, the head has to be shaven. And when he went for that, nobody wanted to see the, like, no, Nimai Pandit without the hairs. It was uh, they could not imagine to see him without the hairs, because his beautiful curly hairs, it will be no more. And even the barber who was supposed to shave, he was not able to, practically could not see, only because the moment he would recollect that, oh, I have to cut this, tears would roll from his eyes, tears would fill in his eyes, and he could not see anything. And somehow, little by little, he uh, shaved the head. And it said, the Chaitanya Charitamrita says, that was the last day, or that was the last person whom he did the shaving. After that, he took up to the profession of a sweet maker. So, and like, no, even it is said that Lord Chaitanya told him that you do it, and like, no, this will be the end of your samsara sagara. And then after that, he comes in front of taking bath, he comes in front of Keshav Bharati. And interestingly, like, no, although he was a Nimai Pandit was a devotee, but he chose Keshav Bharati in the Mayavad Sampradaya to accept sannyas. Because that time the Bharati or the Mayavadis were they were very prominent, or they were highly respected. He thought that if I take a Vaishnava sannyas, many of the Brahmanas who are, like, from the Shankara followers, they may not respect me, and they will be vanchit, or they will be left out from getting my mercy. So that's why let me accept sannyas, and whichever is the highest order, so that everybody will be respecting me and offering respects. And when he goes to Keshav Bharati also in the Chaitanya Bhagavat also comes, how in 2-3 different ways he tries to convince him how there is no need of taking sannyas. But he doesn't agree upon. And he says, no, you have to go and take permission from your wife and the mother and come. Immediately, Nimai Pandit starts running towards the Ganga. Immediately, suddenly he thinks, see, what is difficult for him to convince anyone? He can convince anybody and come back. And he thinks that it is my service to him that I have to, it is his desire, he is the Supreme Lord, so I have to render this seva. And then he calls back and he says that yes, he agrees to give him the initiation. Meanwhile, like, he is a Supreme Lord. So Nimai Pandit, he tells to Keshavarti that actually I have heard a mantra. Can you just examine whether is it the right mantra for the sannyas initiation? And he tells that mantra in the ears of Keshav Bharati. That way he initiated Keshav Bharati first, and in turn, then, like, afterwards, after getting initiated by Supreme Lord, Keshav Bharati gave the same mantra to Nimai Pandit. And he was thinking what name to give him. And then he thought that he's going to take the names of Krishna and making everybody chant the names of Krishna, and he's going to wake up all the sleeping souls who are like Jada to bring them back to the life. So the best name would be Sri Krishna Chaitanya. and that name was given. And interestingly, when I was hearing, I also came across first time that the Chandrasekhar Acharya or Acharya Ratna, he is the husband of the the Mother Shachi. Mother Shachi's sister's husband. That is his like no kind of mama. And after the Jagannath Mishra's passing away, it was Chandrasekhar Acharya who was like a father, and he was taking care of all the things. And he was told to perform all the rituals which he had to perform. So he performs the like no, that is he is the mama, but then he himself has to perform all the rituals and cut off all the sun. So that the ceremony was performed, and we know that after the ceremony, immediately like no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go towards the Vrindavan, and how Nityantru tricks him to come back to Shantipur, and that whole Leela we know. But then, like no, if you carefully observe that what is the purpose of uh, Nimai Pandit accepting sannyas is for the sake of out of compassion. It was not for the sake of any recognition or the wanting to be respected by everyone that he took sannyas. The main purpose was to like no reclaim the fallen souls, and that is the purpose even in our parampara, in the Gaudiya parampara. Whoever accepts sannyas, or it is not for the sake of any prestige or any, or it was not the irresponsible uh, uh, way of jerking all the responsibilities for this, but for the sake of assisting the previous acharyas in spreading this movement. And even for the same purpose, like no Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made this as a institutionalized the whole the movement, so that it can reach out to more and more, because that was the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepting sannyas, that how I can give like no uh, blessings to all the people, and more people take to the practice of Krishna consciousness. And individually, yes, one can practice bhakti and one may be able to preach. But when it is institutionalized, the effect is more phenomenal. It is a what you call the synergy, principle of synergy. If one boat can carry 400 kgs, if there are two boats, each can carry 400 and 400, 800 kgs. But if they both are tied together, then it can carry much more than 800, although their capacity individually is 400. The same way, each devotee may be able to make some difference in this world, but when all devotees they come together, that what difference it can be made is much phenomenal. For that purpose, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur established this institutionalized this preaching activities. And then when Srila Prabhupada saw that what was his desire of his Guru Maharaj, which was not fulfilled, he took it up seriously, and whatever was not followed, he implemented them and established this or started this ISKCON movement with the whole and soul idea that to make the words of Lord Chaitanya, later he says that Prithvitya Chaitanya Gradigram Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Moranam, that in each and every town, in every nook and corner, like no, my name will be chanted. To make that happen, Srila Prabhupada started this ISKCON. And even like no, interestingly, when the first uh, the what you can establishment of ISKCON at 26nd Avenue, when it was made, all those who were the trustees, many of them on the spot. Okay, the lawyer was also made one of the trustee, and they didn't know what exactly it is. And international society, but there was nothing other than that one center. And even when in 1967 December, when Srila Prabhupada was about to go to San Francisco, when the ticket came, till that time they never thought or they never imagined that it will, like, this is international society will go beyond this 26nd Avenue. But Prabhupada had the clear-cut vision that how it's going to go everywhere, and throughout the world, people will be chanting the names of the Lord, which was a prediction of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also had told, seeing, who had envisioned, seeing towards the Yogapith, that one day people from all across the globe, from the Europe, Germany, Russia, everybody will come and chant the names of Lord Gauranga. And with that faith, like, he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which now it has spread in everywhere. And wherever you go, surely, like, no, if you little bit do survey, or if you are sincere, then we'll be able to meet a devotee. To the very fact that when the, like, the devotees were distributing the books in the bee forest in the Brazil, there also, like, no, they knocked a door. A devotee was distributing books, and he came across that when the door was opened, he happened to see one Mataji with beautiful tilak and, like, no, kantimala and in the sari, and he was very much taken aback that, how is that in this middle of the uh, kind of a forest, how she is, like, practicing. And then he went inside and he saw the beautiful altar and Prabhupada books. Then he asked, how did he become a devotee? Then she went on to tell that how she was the air hostess, and when Prabhupada was traveling once, then Prabhupada was having the muri, like, the puffed rice, okay, popcorn or poha or whatever, puffed rice. So she asked the devotee that, would you like to have something? The devotee said, no, no, no. 2, 3 times he said. Then Prabhupada later he said, okay, seeing her wanting to serve, he said, okay, you can get some cut fruits. She went and personally, cut some fruits and brought. When she offered, then she saw that Prabhupada is eating the this muri, and without, like, no, there's not the normal custom that they are taught so much that how to behave, what to do, what not to do. But it's an uncommon thing. She put her hand and immediately put one morsel of the poha in or the muri in her mouth. And the devotee was servant, he became so much shocked. We never think of, like, no, doing that in front of Prabhupada. How is that she did it? So the Shrutakirti Prabhu was there. He knew that, like, the how, like, no, he narrated this incident that how somebody can get the, like, the mercy of a pure devotee. And this book distributor happened to be in the class, and he told the next part that connected the dot, that, like, that was the same devotee whom I met. So that is a glory that for which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts sannyas. So Srila Prabhupada also accepted the sannyas for the same purpose of preaching. And he has given us this opportunity to assist him in this mission. And Lord Chaitanya didn't say that, like, no, didn't tell everybody that has to take sannyas, but he said, Grihetako Vanatako Sadahari Bolidako. Wherever you are, whether you are in the house or you are in the forest, that is either you are a grihastha or a sannyasi, it doesn't matter. But what you need to focus is the, like, no, internalizing the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita by practicing ourselves. And when you practice nicely, the natural outcome is, if you are using any product, if you like the product and if you are happy with the product, what we do is we want to go and share with others. Like, oh, you know that I took this, like, no, yesterday I took this such and such thing, it is so nice, like, no, that way we want to naturally speak. The same way, if we are happy practicing our life, practicing bhakti, when we are happy, that naturally the what do you call, spillover or the outflow is there, and that is nothing but the preaching. So we are so grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us this opportunity to, in some way or the other, when we are trying to preach, the other person may become a devotee or not, or whether he listens or not, but at least we will remain intact and our practice of bhakti will go on. So we are grateful for that. And today is the day where we can offer praise to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He gave up his such chaste wife and the loving mother for the sake of the entire world. That shows the selflessness. So you can pray that, my dear Lord, I also have so many selfish agendas and self-centeredness. May I also come out of this self-centeredness and become little bit selfless and try to do something for others. So thank you very much. श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु के, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, or reflections? Yes, please.
Prabhuji, you mentioned one example that suppose we are attending Mangala Arati, Samsara Dha, what we are doing, but our mind is thinking somewhere else. So how to come out of this problem?
I'm also in the same boat. But reminding ourselves, and Krishna tells the same thing. Arjuna has the same question. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyam nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. It is very difficult to control Krishna, that I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind. Then Krishna gives a solution that abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. By abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa is the practice, doing the positive, which helps us in that. In the purport, Prabhupada writes the Navida Bhakti. How by following the Navida Bhakti, it helps us to practice. And the second thing also Prabhupada writes, whenever the mind, Krishna also tells in this one, yato yato nischalati manas chanchalamas tatam tatam niyamyetat. That is, whenever it runs away, you bring it back. So that is a constant practice we need to do of bringing it back. And second thing is vairagya. That is the trying to give away the things which distract us or which take us away from the focusing our mind. So there will be certain things which may act as a triggers for our distraction. Suppose if I sit for reading Prabhupada books, but the distracting agent may be the mobile. The moment the message comes, so let me see. If that is the case, then at least for that half an hour, keeping it aside, so that we're seeing what is the distracting things, which is distracting. So that is one thing. And practically, I have seen in Pune, one devotee was there, Keshav Nimai Prabhu. He would, even after in the ashram for almost 8-10 years also, still during the Mangala Arati or Guru Puja and all, he would keep the small book which has the meaning also. So that when the mind needs to be engaged, when you cannot blindly read also, hearing also. So somewhere the mind has to be, so he would try to see the meanings, so that when the singer is singing, he can read the meanings, and while singing, at least he can so that we're making an attempt. So,
And Prabhuji, other question is, in the beginning of the class, you mentioned the process of taking darshan starting from the lotus feet. But sometimes it is difficult to follow that. And when taking darshan of Lord Jagannath, the lotus feet is not visible. So
no, but he has the lotus feet.
Huh.
Right now we don't have, but again, many times is paduka is kept. Paduka is nothing but the lotus which he uses. Even otherwise, basically it is taking darshan from the lower part. That is why lotus feet. That is the lowermost part of your body. I want to take it on the highest part of my this one. That is, I want to take it on my head, or I want to behold through my eyes. So that way there is and even in the third canto, if you read, there is the series of shlokas which tells about the how we should meditate on the different parts of the body of the Lord and take darshan. So that comes. And as usual, another thing is that as Prabhupada gives us the hope that we need not have to become this in a circle. everything is the beginning. So if you have not taken darshan, then at least if you have taken darshan of the face, fine, at least you can come down to the lotus feet.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So thank you for the wonderful class. So just have one question on what we were discussing today and what we have heard elsewhere also. See, I always wonder, see, now we do devotional service so that we are recipient of the costless mercy of the Lord. So why is it called costless mercy? Because there seems to be a cost for it. Only when we do devotional service, then the mercy comes. So, I mean, if you can just give us, highlight that a little bit. Why is it called costless then? Because there is it is not costless, no? We are making it to cost because we are to do something and then we are recipient of the mercy.
Yeah.
So that's the point.
And this, in my limited understanding, one thing, it is not that there are so many people who are working outside. Everybody will not become the Elon Musk. Elon Musk. Although they're endeavoring, that doesn't mean that everyone will become wealthy. So that way, it is not that just because I am doing something that I should be rewarded or I should be eligible. So at the same time, there may be some cases wherein, like now, the person might have not done anything, but still he may be getting the benefit and the what do you call the increment. So that way, it is not that it is our service which will because of which we are getting the mercy, but what is that by our endeavor we are just attracting the attention of the Lord, that I am trying to do something. So but then he has the complete free will whether to give it or not. So that way it is, we are the beggar can make an attempt, but there are sometimes like no, a person, he might not be begging, he may be just standing still, while going passerby they may give. So that's why it is, in one sense it is causeless only. And there are so many times the beggar may go and beg, but still he'll not get. So that's why it is called causeless, that uh, it is neither that by our own endeavors we can attract, nor that without doing endeavor also sometimes it comes. So that's why there is no cause for it, for the Lord's mercy. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki